Qué linda va, con su pollera tan colorada. Pero qué linda va, con su pollera tan colorada. Si vas para Chile, te ruego que pases.
Good morning and welcome to 202 Tourism Report. This week's episode is on Chile. Why Chile, you ask? Because Chile is a new up-and-coming hotspot in South America. What's this all about? Check it out.
La idioma popular es español.
The capital of Chile is Santiago, and their currency is the Chilean pesos.
Their population is 17 million. Their religion is Roman Catholic.
Chile has 285,133 square miles.
Chile has a lot to offer tourists. There are 5 regions that produce wine, 1 region produces strictly cooking wine, and the other 4 regions offer wine tastings for the wine enthusiast. Horseback riding is very prevalent along the beaches. You can even go swimming and skiing in the same day because on average the country is only 109 miles wide. The Patagonia region is one of the most popular traveled places in Chile and is home to some of the truest wildlife left on the planet. And least we forget, Easter Island, where one can immerse themselves in local history.
Busy bees, those Chileans. Seems like there's something for everyone. But how do all those tourists flocking to Chile affect the people living there? Casey's got the scoop.
In order to be sustainable, tourists must respect the authenticity of the host community, conserve their built and living cultural heritage and traditional values, and contribute to intercultural understanding and tolerance. In Puerto Natales, Chile, there is special attention focused on how to reduce negative impacts of tourism on the fishing industry. Chile is the second largest exporter of salmon in the world, and although tourism is wanted in the area, Torres del Paine National Park can sustain much more tourism activity than Puerto Natales, so efforts are in place to limit travelers. The trails of Puerto Natales are designed to limit the number of tourists in order to raise environmental issues. The fishermen running the tours want locals to be well informed of conservation efforts, so during the low season, free tours are provided for local schools with the purpose of education. The tours are marketed as specialized tours for birth watchers and people who are interested in the biodiversity of the region. This justifies charging a higher price and therefore limiting the number of travelers. Chile markets itself as a very diverse and unique culture where you can take part in just about any outdoor activity. More and more tourists are opting for natural attractions. In the 1990s, nature-related tourism in Chile made up 7% of total tourism revenues, with an annual growth of 10 to 30%. While many areas in South America and Chile are seen as dangerous for foreign travelers, the capital of Chile, Santiago, has very low crime rates and has both the greatest number of residents and tourists than anywhere else in Chile. There are over 2,953 lodging establishments in Chile, and 55.7% of overnight stays are located in the metropolitan region of Santiago. The locals in Santiago are very friendly and welcoming to outside tourists. It's also a great place for foreign travelers to go out to eat and experience the culture.
Thank you, Casey. And how is the government affected by the influx of tourists? Sasha knows.
Chile has a democratic government, but a very young democratic government. They approved their constitution in 1980, and it was put into action in 1981. They have had 5 presidents, including 1 girl. They didn't get to vote their first president in until 2009. The government of Chile completely supports tourism to Chile, and in fact, they are supporting and funding the entire Chilean tourist campaign. Back to you, Audrey.
Oh, thank you, Sasha. That was great. Let's swing it back over to Casey so she can tell us how the influx of tourists is affecting the economy in Chile.
Tourism in Chile has experienced sustained growth over the last few decades, and although this is part of the worldwide trend, Chile expanded 6.3% compared to the 4.3% worldwide. Revenue from tourism in Chile expanded 242% from 1989 to 2004. The explanations for this rapid growth could include the expansion of global trade, improved access to travel services at competitive prices, and the lesser restrictions on foreign travel to Chile. In 2011, Chile experienced a volcanic eruption, which caused a drop in the economy due to an overwhelming amount of inbound flight cancellations, closed routes of transit, and thousands forced from their residence. Chile's economy depends on tourism, and this was a major devastation. The eruption caused a large amount of sediment and ash to fall into the Nilahu River, causing it to overflow and destruct everything in its path. Another natural disaster hit Chile in 2010 and also caused a decrease in tourism, coinciding with a decrease in economy levels. But because Chile has grown accustomed to earthquakes over the years, they have a great infrastructure system and safety laws. It didn't take them long to rebuild solid buildings and rebuild the economy and the tourism industry. Chile has one of the highest levels of foreign trade in the world, and a free trade system with China. Chile is seen as a role model for economic reform because of the agreements they've made with other countries and the improvements they have made in trade over the years.
Now let's hear about how the environment's affected.
Chile measures a massive length of 43,000 kilometers north to south and just 180 kilometers in width. Because of its length, it experiences every kind of climate, providing tourists and residents a large array of activities. The northern region is dry and desert-like. The middle is Mediterranean climate. The southern region is wet with many forests, and the furthest south is ice and frozen lakes. Off the coast in the Pacific is the only island in the region, Easter Island, or Rapa Nui. It's part of Chile. Cruise ships visit the island with up to 1,000 passengers, along with regularly scheduled flights. Once on the island, the visitors travel around on buses, putting a lot of stress on the archaeological sites and the workers. Many of these visitors do not spend much time there, meaning the island makes little to no profit per visitor. The total daily population of tourists and residents is expected to be 10,000 this coming year. The mayor of Easter Island, Luis Zatzo, is trying to control who can come to the island and make it more difficult to get there. He is quoted saying, "Much of the so-called income generated by tourism goes outside the country to big companies and operators. The people who are crushed by tourism will be the very ones tourists think are getting the money. The reality is, the farmer may sell his land to the developer, but then the tourists move in, and the price of living becomes so high the farmer can't afford to live there anymore." Efforts are being put forth to help sustain the island by promoting composting and recycling programs, water sanitation projects, and a composting sewage system. Travelers are not taking cautionable measures in visiting the island. If every visitor brought with them reusable bags, took their plastic waste with them when they left the island, and walked to archaeological sites instead of by bus or car, the impact would be far less, and the island wouldn't be trying to control the population so much.
Wow, Casey, that was really interesting. Here's a quick look at their future plans.
Chile is a less traveled destination, which makes them up and coming. They're currently right under one of the holes in the ozone, so their main goal is to sustain their environment that they currently have. They're also breaking into the cruise industry, and with a coastline of 2,650 miles that offers many ports for them to have many different experiences. I think that in the future, they're definitely going to become a more popular place to visit because they have something for everyone and many different experiences to enjoy. Back to you, Audrey.
Thank you for joining us for this week's edition of 202 Tourism Report. As we say ciao to Chile, join us next week when we say Sawatsika to Thailand.
Pero qué linda va, con su pollera tan colorada. Pero qué linda va, con su pollera tan colorada. Si vas para Chile, ruego que pases por donde vive mi amada. Es una casita muy linda y chiquita que está en las faldas de un cerro enclavada. La adornan las parras y cruza un estero. Al frente hay un sauce que llora porque yo la quiero. Si vas para Chile, te ruego viajero, le digas a ella que de amor me muero. Si vas para Chile, te ruego viajero, le digas a ella que de amor me muero. Pero qué linda va, con su pollera tan colorada. Pero qué linda va, con su pollera tan colorada. Si vas para Chile, te ruego que pases por donde vive mi amada. Es una casita muy linda y chiquita que está en la falda clavada. La adornan las parras y cruza un estero. Al frente hay un sauce que llora porque yo la quiero. Si vas para Chile, te ruego viajero, le digas a ella que de amor me muero. Si vas para Chile, te ruego viajero,